What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And, well, I was wondering, I know I asked you this yesterday, but you don't remember if you'd like to go on a first date. Maybe 50 of them. Maybe 50 first dates with me. It's okay, you won't remember. I'll ask you again tomorrow. This is 50 first dates. 20th anniversary. It was last year. I'll acknowledge that. It turned 20 last year. And it's like February. And I should kind of stop mentioning it's really now like the 21st anniversary. It's turning 21 and can legally drink today. I wanted to get a couple things in there for Valentine's Day, some titles, in and around. So 50 first dates. What's up with 50 First Dates? Has it stood the test of time? I think so. I think this is generally viewed as being one of Adam Sandler's better movies. It has audio description out there in the world that's been created for it, so you can watch it with audio description if you can find. Anyway, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, they're reteaming after being in The Wedding Singer together. They would go on to reteam again after this. They pair well together. Drew Barrymore is one of the few people who does really well in Adam Sandler movies. Like, she benefits from them in ways that actually make her look good, which is really hard to do because the movies are written for him, and even he doesn't look good in some of them. But a lot of times he's roped in co-stars into his movies that end up not looking great. Does anybody remember that Reese Witherspoon was in an Adam Sandler movie? Little Nicky? Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. She didn't really benefit from being in that at all. You know, not everybody does. So, yeah, this one seems to really sort of understand Barrymore and what makes her funny, and allow her to be the goofy free spirit that she does very well, and then also the couple of moments of charm. It's Barrymore that really makes the movie work, because Sandler's just playing like a version of himself that he's played like every other movie. And the fact that he plays a ladies' man is so ridiculous. You know, like the movie starts off with this person with all these girls who are talking about how they went on this one date with this extraordinary guy, and it was a great first date, and then they never saw him again for a myriad of reasons. And it's like, he's pulling this off? That guy. That guy is pulling this off? Really? I mean, it's a comedy, so we're supposed to jump on board and be like, seems legit. But at the same time, I have seen 50 First Dates. I've seen it a bunch of times. It is, and we have penguins here, which I think is funny because later on you have Good Luck Chuck, and it's Dane Cook, and he's also sort of like the guy who gets a lot of girls. And what else is in that movie? Penguins. Just gotta bring in penguins. Why? I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about penguins. We just put them in movies, you know, where they're really popular. So Sandler ends up meeting Drew Barrymore's character and is smitten with her and learns of her condition, where she had a traumatic brain injury. So every day is the same day for her. She wakes up and just keeps reliving the same day, which also happens to be like a birthday. So her dad, played by Blake, I don't know, the Blake that's always in everything with the voice. I can't think of his last name. Blake Clark. And Sean Astin is the brother, trying to do a comedic role here. And he looks oddly jacked from what I remember. Like, he's like almost misshapenly. He looks, he reminded me a little bit of, later on when Shyamalan did, Lady in the Water, and there's the one resident who has the one jacked arm because he only works out one arm. Yeah, he kind of looks a little ridiculous, but he's got this weird voice. I don't know, man. This movie is, it's one of those things where you go through and you're like, I don't know, does this hold up? Is it offensive? And it's like, I could pick this thing and say there are problems, there are representation problems, there are everything problems. I think probably more so than any latent homophobia that floats through the movie. I just keep looking at these things as I watch them, and I just go, did we ever stop and just go, should Rob Schneider be playing every single racial dissent ever? Like, should he be all races? Is he really that ethnically vague of a person that he can just get away with being everything and nothing at the same time? Like, he pops into every single one of these movies and he's something else, which is all based on like a stereotype. I mean, I think probably more so than anything else in the movie, Rob Schneider just keeps popping in with these oddly offensive stereotypical characters in these movies. He's never just himself. I mean, it's funny to laugh at him and be like, it's okay in like The Water Boy because he's playing like what, like a southern, but like that's not him. Like he just jumps around and he does like a crazy accent and it's like a stereotypical one. That's the stereotypical accent for the Bayou, you know? He doesn't care. He just he just jumps in, he's like, I don't know, I've got this. Hold my beer. I'm surprised he hasn't played, African or Australian or, like he just, if he finds an accent, he just goes with it and accepts the fact that he is that, whatever that race is. I don't know. Rob Schneider as Ula in this is just, I like his Deuce Bigelow and Hot Chick when he's just him, when he doesn't have to be, he's fine. Every time he stumbles into an Adam Sandler movie, it's like the two of them get together and like, wouldn't it be funny if I was blank? And it's like, I don't know, would it? Is it really? Making copies? Feels like it just highlights the fact that he's really sort of like a one-note person and like the only thing he's good for is accents, and so he ends up in a movie with accent. But I I still think that this movie is funny and charming, but I think it's largely due to Drew Barrymore. I love Drew Barrymore, and I did a review of Eurotrip where I was like, this movie didn't age well, blah, blah, blah. And this movie, I graded it lower because it just didn't work for me 20 years later. Eurotrip was like never one of my top echelon teen comedies. And then watching some of the things there, I was just like, that joke doesn't work anymore. Even, not even like the ones where you're like, well, it's woke. It's more just like, just the way we look at Europeans, just a lot of that culture of just showing up and being like, we're here, we're gonna do our thing now. This one suffers less from that, and it just has, even has some cutesy stuff in it too. Like there's some stuff that makes it sort of nice. He does work really hard for this thing and he does put in the work, and you get an idea that he's never put in the work before. And so the fact that he's willing to put in the work here, and he comes up with the videotape idea and the journal and all that kind of stuff. So it's sweet. There's parts of it, and that's what makes it work. That's what gets you through the bullshit, is in and out the other side, is if you came for a rom-com, there are going to be some things here that you're going to be like, I don't know, man. But at the end of the day, there's still something here central to the actual plot of the movie, the core of the movie that works. And there's one of the two lead performances I love it. I love Drew Barrymore in this. So I'm not going to stop anybody from watching 50 First Dates. As a blind film critic, as a gay film critic, any critic you want. I accept this film it's not my favorite Sandler movie. It never was. By the way, this isn't like an aging of time thing, but it was in the top of them, just not the top. Like, it was closer to the top than a lot of his other films. So, but not the top. I mean, like, top 10. I'd say this is top 10 Sandler movie for me. Of his comedies, it's hard to work. Once you actually have to start working in films like Uncut Gems, then you start losing some of his comedies because he's actually started to expand himself as an actor. But if I was just going straight off of comedies, then yeah. So, the audio description was fine. It did a nice job of highlighting jokes and humor, and it didn't do anything where I was like, wow, that was a great. It just sort of was nice, average, supportive audio description. There wasn't anything that I felt like it really did. I would say the best part was sort of at the end when it reveals when he decides to go back and she takes him into the room and shows him. I'm trying to do it in like the least spoilery way possible, even though it's been 20 years. You've had 20 years to watch this movie. I don't know. I know your life. She shows him like what she's been drawing. I would say that scene was described really well. So I like 50 First Dates. I don't love 50 First Dates. It's not my favorite Adam Sandler movie, but it never was. Do I feel like canceling it? Not broadly. Do I feel like what Rob Schneider's doing, like probably a long time ago, we should have just said stop? Can you just be you? Like, are you not funny enough as you? Like, do you have to constantly be like racially vague in order to be funny? Is that all you have? Is that your shtick? Like, doing that one time is a thing. You know, it's like, oh, that was random. Okay. I mean, Mike Myers does that kind of stuff too, in his Austin Powers movies and stuff. I mean, he plays sort of these characters he probably shouldn't be playing. But he's made a career out of that. Like, every single time he pops up, it's just like, I don't know what I am. Probably shouldn't be doing this. I don't know if it's offensive. Don't really care. You know, it's just, so... But there's some heart in here, and I think that's one of the important things, is because so many Sandler movies don't have that, and they're judged solely based on their comedy, because there isn't really heart in some of these. You know what I'm saying? Like, the heart is very small. It's very gone. So the Waterboy is either funny or it's not funny. You know, there's no heart there. It's not. It doesn't have like an emotional depth to it. It just is what it is. This is, you have to be able to connect to it on a romantic comedy level. And I think you're able to do that because of Drew Barrymore. I think Drew, just like she did in Wedding Singer, brings out the best in Adam Sandler. And she brings out the best in herself in these movies. So she's very charming, and that would be why you should watch 50 First Dates. Time to grade 50 First Dates. Yeah, I didn't get all the jokes. The audio description doesn't necessarily knock everything out of the park. It's obviously not going to point out necessarily why something is funny. So a lot of the time, there was a lot of smaller jokes where I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't remember what the punchline was there. You know, there's a line where he's talking to a character. I couldn't remember, is it transphobic? Is it homophobic? Is he just saying a dumbass comment? But that comment where he says he's being hit on by what I assume is a lady. And he's like, I don't know if you're unaware, but that I'm not into dudes. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this a trans joke? Is this a homophobic joke? I don't even know what kind of joke this is. Like, I wouldn't even get the joke because the audio description didn't support it at all, and just told me the character's name as was, and didn't describe her at all. So I was just like, I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't expect every single movie for every single guy who is ever hit on as a straight character to respond, you know, in the most respectful of manners either. It's not realistic, you know, like if they are being hit on by a guy, you know. So I don't know. I mean, he didn't come across as being, so if that's what that is, I think that was uh it's fairly, I mean, it's a joke at some expense, but it's a joke I don't understand because there's no audio description for it, and I can't remember the joke. It didn't make any impact on me the first time through. I was very lost. I was like, I mean, I don't know how to feel about this scene. So it was a lot easier to pinpoint Rob Schneider and his dumbass accent than it was that scene where I was like, I don't, what was this, a joke here? Thanks, audio description. But yeah, and some of the other parts of the audio description was really good. So I don't know, man. 51st Dates, you can do with it as you want. I don't feel like some of the other films that I've seen are clearly, yeah. I've definitely seen some films where I'm like, I can't go there anymore. Like, I can't. Ace Ventura's, no, like, it's too much. That's not the reaction to have. But just saying something like I'm not into dudes is just like, if he's being hit on by a guy, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a safe response. You know, thank you, but I'm not into guys. I don't know, like, how else do you, it's Adam Sandler, so I mean, I feel like that's the best response you're ever going to get from him. You know, so progress, I don't know, but yeah, I don't get that scene at all. Audio description failed me. Come for Drew Barrymore. She's delightful in this. If you've been watching her daytime talk show and you're like, I miss her movies, this movie fully embodies everything that makes her funny, and that's what I have to get through. Like, that's what I enjoyed the most after having watched 51st Dates. This is probably fourth or fifth time for me, I'm gonna say. I've seen 51st Dates at least a couple times, so not a desert island movie because it's not my favorite Sandler movie, but it might damn well be close to being my favorite Drew Barrymore movie. I love her in this. So I'm going to give 51st Dates, I'm going to give it a B. I want to say B plus because of Drew Barrymore. I'm going to just stick with B. I'm going to go with B right now. I noticed that even back in the day, because it still has my IMDb score, and I was a little surprised. I was like, huh, that's interesting. I would have thought that would score that higher, but from old back in the day, yeah. Anyway, B it is. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I won't remember you tomorrow. See you guys on the other side.